Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant, and I'm really pleased to be joined this morning by Arthur Ponsonby. Good morning, Arthur.
Good morning. How are you, Nick?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm very good. I think it's August. There's a bit of a lull in the education world, but I'm ready for the next academic year.
Fight on through. So Arthur is the founder and director of the Right Tuition Company. They tutor children from primary up to secondary school, from year 1 all the way up to year 11, focusing on key exams like 11 plus, SATs and GCSEs. They've got centres in Tunbridge Wells, Tunbridge, Maidstone, Crowborough and Rochester. Now, you set this up in 2014, Arthur. Can we go back there and you tell us why you did it?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, it's very it was me, but it was me with some other people as well. Having left teaching in a London school for 2 years, I thought schools are fantastic. They're probably not the best environment for me to ply my trade due to my aversion to authority. So I thought, what can I do? And funnily enough, I was working with a tutoring company at that time, and together we went up to Rochester, where I knew there was a lady who was doing small group tutoring and had done for almost 30 years. And I went and worked there as a teacher, and very quickly from there we sort of decided to set up a business, and we'd work with Rochester. But then from there I set up Tunbridge Wells, and then Tunbridge in 2019. Yeah. But it evolved out of that sort of partnership, and quite soon the London Tutoring Company very amicably fell away, and then I worked with this lady called Anita Clemens, who was absolutely huge inspiration. We very much had the same philosophy on learning, and I found it was just a wonderful model of education to really engage children, to love the teaching, to be able to see tangible progress, and also the engagement with parents. And so I sort of was enlightened to that, and it sort of evolved from there.
Yeah, right. So is your background in teaching then?
It was for a couple of years, but I did various jobs after leaving university. Right. We were more regular. I was various jobs, but I did them poorly.
But you're just trying to find your feet, I guess, finding your direction
of
where you want to go. Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. And actually, it's very relevant because I think that's such a pertinent issue at the moment. Everyone wants things very quickly, immediately, right here, right now. I'd definitely say where I am now is a direct impact of maybe some more unpleasant experiences or unsatisfying experiences. So actually, I'm hugely grateful for all those. And I tried to do jobs outside of teaching for 4 or 5 years, and it just didn't give me any fulfillment. Yeah. And the only job I ever loved was when I left school. I taught in a Kenyan tea plantation in the middle there for 6 months, and I loved it. I got that fulfillment. Yeah. So I thought, well, why not return to that after I'd worked out that the pursuit of mammon was probably not for me. All right.
I think it must bring you and any probably teacher so much joy to see a child learning from you and getting it. When you've actually explained something or shown them something or explained the process to them, they go and they get it. That must be really fulfilling.
It is. I think it's a vocational pursuit. Right. Not many people go into teaching for the money. But you go in there because maybe you've got this innate desire or ability to connect. It's not about necessarily how intelligent you are. No. It's how you communicate and build a rapport with others, in particular, young folk. And some people have that, and some people really don't, like most things in life.
Yeah, sure. Can't be good at everything, can you?
Most certainly not. And I think working out what you're not so good at and getting people to support you with that's a key thing of running a business.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you start out, I found you want to do everything yourself, and letting go, that period of letting go is so hard. But actually, in order to grow and develop, you need to sort of work out quickly, right, I'm not very good at that, I need some help.
And get all those people to fill those gaps.
Now,
Right Tuition Company, have been going for quite a while. You must have quite a few competitors within the marketplace. What makes you different? Why should people come to you?
Well, funny enough, I never take that much of an interest in I know it's really, I always felt from the outset, if we have the right values and principles, and you build a team of proper education enthusiasts around you, yes, I'm aware of like what businesses might charge and sort of one-to-one tutoring market.
Yeah.
We are proper education people. We are Ofsted registered. We are full of teachers who are charismatic, real education enthusiasts. And we've got amazing staff, amazing managers, and they filter this philosophy and this understanding of the business and trying to give this fantastic service to parents and pupils that filters down through the company. And I think we're very good at, having unique things like learning materials or our relevant course structures. But ultimately, we're a people business.
Yeah.
And through time, we've retained, unbelievably, most of our staff as we've grown into we're over 11 years old now.
Yeah.
And for a tutoring firm, we've got most people have been there 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah, it says a lot, doesn't it?
I think it says a lot, and that continuity does breed success.
Yeah.
But I would say it ultimately comes down to core values rather than anything else. And if I was looking over my shoulder, or we were all the time, wondering what X, Y, and Z are doing, I'm aware there are education organisations around here where they're not really set up by education people,
right?
But it's more of like just a business. And I think people are quite discerning, and sometimes maybe that cut through is why we've been able to sustain our success year upon year.
Yeah.
So, not treating people as a means to an end, but an end in themselves.
Yeah.
Really
making all the people that work with you and work for you, making them understand your company culture is really crucial. I've had a few conversations this week with other people about a similar topic.
Yeah.
Where it's hard to do, it's hard to get right, but when you do get it right and they all see your vision, you all sing from the same song sheet, then you get results.
Well, I find that I have this idea. I don't know if you're familiar with. It's a football term, but is the notion that the idea of Claude Makelele, who was a chap who played for Real Madrid when they had those amazing players like R9, Ronaldo, Beckham, Zidane, Figo, and they were all asked independently who is the most important player, and they all said without doubt, without this flair, they all said Claude Makelele, who was the central midfielder, wouldn't move that much, but he wouldn't pass it more than 10 yards, but he was the glue that sticks it all together and enables the magic to come. And if you want that magic to evolve as an organisation, we don't want to be a team of individuals. We want to be that unified, cohesive team, and that only comes from having the brilliant people we've got at the top, the managers, who are always day upon day engaged with parents, pupils, teachers, organising everything, so teachers can go in and do their thing. They are maybe the flair players that go onto the pitch and do their magic. But beneath that veneer is glue that's innate and a great enabler. People that sort of stick everything together.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, I like that. That makes perfect sense. So, are you the Claude?
Absolutely not. I'm probably the one who comes on, gets a red card after half an hour, and kicks a water bottle as that. No, I don't really know what I am anymore. No. I think letting go of trying to be the Claude and giving way to people who are inherently much more able at that side of things. I'm fueled by a lot of energy and passion, and sometimes feel that my temperament necessarily. You want someone who's very, I always think quite, level-headed. I don't think I've ever been that level-headed, and a big part of one of my colleagues, Stephanie, is probably stopping me from, it's just like sort of leaning on each other, actually. You get to understand one another, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and we try and enable each other. And I think that's almost like almost a semi-conscious way of us operating. We understand each other's pros and cons, and that's what you get from continuity and long years together.
Yes, learning from each other.
But you also want to not become too stale, don't you?
Of course, keep it fresh.
You've got to keep adding to the team and keeping people engaged, and keeping them feeling as though I think people at RTC enjoy a lot of autonomy. And when you feel you've got a seat at the table and you've got a voice, I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, it's a good mindset for sure. Just going back to the teaching and the approaches you take, the 11 plus. Do Do you do things differently with that than a conventional school? Or how do you approach that?
Yeah, definitely. We take a big thing about responsible preparation. We don't like the notion of coaching, where you're just drilled how to answer questions, a bit like a robot.
Yeah.
It's all about substance of teaching and long-term academic skills.
Okay.
So we have, yes, our exclusive materials, but we also got an attempt to really explore topics, be able to problem solve and think. And actually whilst our rate of people who get over the threshold and get into their chosen school is excellent, what we're more proud about is the fact that they flourish when they're there.
Okay.
And often they come back to us for that ongoing support through secondary school. But actually it's be able to think and problem solve and apply logic and have that thirst for academic study that I think breeds long-term success in a place like a grammar school.
Yeah.
If you don't have those minerals or that proper sort of substance of learning, I think grammar schools can become a very bad school choice for you. So it's about not just the right scores, but also the right characteristics and approach to study that can make the most of these wonderful schools.
Yeah, it's almost like the after sales, isn't it? They've passed the exam or they've bought the product. They then need to be looked after afterwards and make sure they make the most of it.
Well, I think it's become more normal.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, I'm 40 now, it was just the anxious affluent who would get access to tutoring. And actually now these days, I think people see it more as that sort of arm of support around you. And if you're going to know your child might go into school feeling a bit more confident or a bit more aware, or like they've had a chance to sort of go over things a bit more or be inspired in a slightly different, energized way, then I think that's quite a sensible investment in many ways. When you just stop, of course, a big part of us is trying to make tutoring accessible, and our small group model really allows us to drive down prices.
Right.
And make tutoring more something. Our parents aren't sort of all sort of merchant bankers and whatnot.
Well, that's it. That's when that next point I was going to move on to is about the perception of tutoring, because people do think that private tutoring is very, very costly and it's out of their budget.
It can be, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know that, for example, it is costly, but I think that cost is always it's relative. But it certainly one-to-one tutoring, I think, has continued, and they're going more towards London prices around where we are.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I think we have a mixture of trying to keep our small group prices as small as possible.
Yeah.
While still achieving our mission goals. And our mission goals is to make tutoring more accessible to an ever wider demographic. So we have lots of pro bono and scholarship classes. We have lots of fantastic initiatives. Of a charitable nature, without being a registered charity, because I don't like bureaucracy. And I think sort of if you can strike that balance right, then I think you become a modern day business where you've got to have some kind of, not corporate responsibility, but some responsibility for the local community. And I don't think it's all just about sort of financial gain. It's about sort of what you are as a company that allows you to put your head on the pillow at night and go to sleep.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, make you feel good about yourself. Does that where the Horizons program come in?
Well, that's a wonderful initiative that we partner with Tunbridge Grammar School. We don't work with many schools.
Yeah.
It's always been a bit of a hysterical thing, tutoring locally. And actually, invariably, schools don't want to deal with us very much. But we work with Tunbridge Grammar School, and they are absolutely brilliant. And our Tunbridge Centre is based out of there.
Oh, is it?
And
okay, right.
This Horizons programme supports Year 4s and Year 5s children who are in receipt of the Pupil Premium Grant, so typically from the lower end of the socio-economic spectrum, to be able to get access to free 11 plus preparation classes.
That's excellent, isn't it?
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So we do that for about 45 children, each year, but we sort of pay for all of their education, their support, be it their intra assessments, their weekly classes, their mock exams, holiday revision classes, to try and level the playing field and get grammar schools back to where their original incarnation.
Okay. I'm going to ask a really dumb question now. It's dumb for me. People that come to RTC, are they already at school and doing this as well as, or is it separate to school?
No, it's not. Most children, invariably, obviously, are at school, and our
Yeah.
classes are after school
Right.
during the week and at the weekends. And so they come to us for an hour's class, usually a week.
Okay.
Most children. Some children might come for 2.
Okay.
But typically an hour a week. We do have some children who are in between schools or out of school, maybe they're homeschooled.
Right.
And so they might come to us during the day. But typically we don't have a lot of classes going on during the day. It's more so that window between 4 and 7:30.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's like a top up, and it strengthens them, and it gives them that extra support that they may not get in a normal school as well.
Well, I think you've got all things to contend with, like large class sizes.
Yeah.
You know, you've got lots of sort of things that, just the chance to cerebral distractions, cerebral development. It's a big thing in primary learning that you have to repeat in order to retain. So when you've got so many demands on the national curriculum, you have to go at one pace.
Yeah.
Most children, if you've got a class with laws of probability, those 30 children in that class probably going at maybe 30 different paces, largely.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So just an opportunity to have a small group where you can find your voice in the classroom. You have to be pretty brave to ask questions or say, can you explain something again in a class of 30?
Yeah.
So if you can build familiarity with your peers from different schools, and you've got a strong rapport with the tutor, and you can have an opportunity to ask those questions of things which are causing concern. That's something which you can take back into the school classroom.
Yeah, there's that way to look at it as well. Yeah. So the locations that you've got, I mean, I guess people from, say, from Tunbridge Wells, they all come here, and like Tunbridge, Maidstone, Crowborough. Do people come outside to come here from different? Do they come from Sussex to come to Tunbridge Wells, for instance?
They do sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
So like, if a child misses a class, say at Crowborough, they might come to Tunbridge Wells to not miss that topic within the week.
Okay.
But when we first started out, we actually had children travelling to us from an hour and a half away.
Right. Okay.
But since then, they've tightened up grammar school and school catchment areas. There's a lot more choice out there.
Yeah.
That goes back to what you were saying at the start. I think actually with the choice thing, I think because we're dealing with people's children, you can't just be someone who just comes in and sets up. There are a lot of people who arrive, but they leave quite quickly, Yeah. And actually you've got to sweat the small stuff and really enjoy the slog to actually sort of, stand the test of time. But typically it's very local. People will probably now not travel more than 4 or 5 miles to...
Right, okay.
Yeah.
You've got to really sell it to the parents as well, haven't you? As much as the children.
Well, that's the thing. Our selling has always been about divulging information, and if those parent can get a flavour of the charisma and passion that we got. So children always start with a free class and a free academic assessment. And what that does is it gives the parent immediate insight into our knowledge, our understanding, our plan for support, and who we are as people. And it's very transparent.
Yeah.
So you get like a first-hand idea of what we're about and how we can help. And then by creating these open areas of dialogue, you can keep people updated.
Yeah.
The work goes home with you, so you can see how it's been marked.
Yes, yeah.
You don't get that at school. You might get 2 parent-teacher consultations a year and not get homework really marked, which gets taken back home.
Completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sort of consistent contact with the parent is completely different.
We try and do what schools find hard to do. It's really hard. I mean, I've been in that position of working in a school. Yeah. You're aware.
Because of volume, isn't it? But really.
Yeah. Completely. It's really hard. And if you've got, a model of education which can support that for the better good of the child, I still think we're on that journey to wanting to really marry up tutoring and mainstream school teaching. But it's there if people want it. And at a time when I think people need it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about any other... Are you planning to get other sites and growing it more?
No, actually. No. Because
happy with it is at the moment.
I'm really more interested in the quality. Yeah. And what's made us great is our quality and our personalised approach. Now with the centres we have, we got probably about 750 children that we teach weekly who come through that door. And we are still able to offer that personalised touch. I don't want us to grow to a stage where we lose who we are, the essence of who we are. So I would love to have the business maybe diversify in terms of its services, what it can offer.
Okay.
But in terms of setting up loads more sites, that's not really what I want to do.
No, okay.
I don't want to be greedy. But I want people to have opportunity. And we're face-to-face education, but I want to not be too pig-headed and be more open to sort of things like online tutoring, which opens up tutoring to some people as well.
True, yeah. So how do you market the business? Word of mouth? Or?
Typically, about 70 to 75% of our new business comes from referrals, or from sort of siblings of past pupils. Yeah. But invariably, we start out doing lots of editorial, or lots of radio ads, or flyer drops. Yeah. Assessment days, stalls. We're doing a stall, aren't we?
Yes, you are. Tell me.
In Maidstone.
Business show,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So face-to-face marketing is very effective, because they get to see you as people. Yeah. But I've done all sorts of shocking things. We did bus ads once, which was astronomically expensive, a complete waste of time.
Well, you don't know until you try these things. Well, you say it's a waste of time, but it's just another thing that you've done which builds on top of what you're doing. You know how marketing works. It's
that's it. You're always learning, and I'm not someone who's gone and done business at university, but that's why the best thing. Just go, if you're of the mindset where you like to be in charge of your own thing, and it's such a wonderful thing because you're always learning. Also, a lot of other people aren't wholly confident about what they're doing anyway, so you get imposter syndrome, don't you? But just remind yourself, I don't know, if you're fueled by passion, a bit of direction, then that'll get you near enough to the right place. And then you've got to take from there.
That's it. Well, that's very entrepreneurial, and I like that approach because a lot of people worry too much instead of just going with it and just facing their fears and doing it anyway. I think that's a good way of putting it, which is it sounds like your approach as well, where you seem quite laid back, but I think you're pretty much on the ball about what you're doing.
I don't know if I'd ever be described as laid back, but thanks, I'll take that one and take it home and tell my wife.
Laid back as in your approach, which is if it were, you seem to be a bit like this. I don't really,
I know. I suppose. I don't know why. I think I've become through setting up all the ups and the downs.
Yes.
You get through. I think you become more and more resilient, and I wanted to people please, be everyone's sort of, and quickly you realise that you've got to stick and have conviction about what your vision is. Yeah. You're never going to please everyone, and I suppose maybe that allows you to relax a bit more and not be on edge the whole time.
Relaxed, not laid back.
That's it. So horizontal. Yeah.
Arthur, thank you for coming in. That's a great chat. I really enjoyed that, and to learn more about you, because you're quite an inspirational fellow about what you've done and how you've done it. I really take my hat off to you. Have you got any tips for any business owners out there that I'll put you on the spot here that maybe have started a business or halfway through a business and maybe they're faced with some difficulties and how you'd approach it?
Probably I think one thing I always try and keep reminding myself is to enjoy the slog kind of thing, because what I mean by that is, I don't know, there's a lot of noise out there about people wanting everything right here, right now, and I think people have maybe sometimes lost sight of the joy, of course, of the slog. Yeah. And of course, when you're in the middle of the slog, it's not that enjoyable. No. But actually, what feels really good about achievement is you've been through the mill, and you can be knocked off track. But I think the idea of being really persistent and sticking at what you do, and not expecting everything to go your way. Most business owners can remember that time of always looking over your shoulder and thinking, how am I going to pay my staff? How am I going to do this? And it does get easier. And most people in business will say it does get easier. And I think it maybe sometimes we've got an aversion to the slog, and and for a myriad of reasons, but actually that is integral to where you get to, and most people don't get to where they do without a bit of hardship, a
Absolutely.
bit of and some real bitter disappointments, some real fear. I think the fear factor, we all as human beings
Yes.
feel a lot of fear.
Yeah.
So, we're animals. I think we need programs to help for that structure, or that ability to compartmentalize things and process things without sort of always being knocked off track.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely think that's something which I think I've become more aware of over time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'd say enjoy the slog.
I like that. Enjoy the slog. Ride the slog. That's
Yeah.
We'll finish on that. Ride the slog, everyone.
There you go. Yeah, that's
like
it.
that. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks for coming.
Cheers,
Really
mate. Thank you
appreciate
very
it. And we'll see you all for another podcast soon. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.